for anyone who didn't hear, about how to be spiritual, particularly in the Western world, but without being tied down to any particular religious path. First of all, just a quick note about that. I think religion, unfortunately, has gotten a really bad rap. And I'm not saying it shouldn't have, but religion in its foundational purpose is not actually bad. It's just in the way that it's been packaged, transmitted, and co-opted for so many other purposes. Ultimately, the goal of religion is to have us be close to God, to give people a way of understanding the universe, understanding the divine, understanding their connection to the divine. The reason that so many of us these days want to be religious, spiritual but not religious, is because religion has become so much about boundaries and walls and borders and us versus them, and about power and land and money, and God seems to have sort of slipped through our fingers in the process. But if we could take religion back to what it really means, then I think that ultimately what we're looking for is really the same thing, whether we call it spirituality or whether we call it religion at its finest. What spirituality is, at its most basic, is being connected to the spirit. That's what the word spirituality means, is of the spirit, pertaining to the spirit. And it's in contrast to being of matter, pertaining to the material world. And so, whereas in the material world, and in the world of matter, we're very focused on physical form. What you look like, what I look like, what this physical form of mine likes, how it feels, what it wants, what it desires, what it fears, and how it sees you as a completely separate physical material form. Spirituality, in contrast, is about the spirit. So we're no longer looking at, you are this tall, you weigh this much, you're of this color, you're from that country, you speak with this accent, you're old, you're young, you're beautiful, you're not beautiful, you're fat, you're thin. We're no longer bound by the form. We're now looking at the content, which is spirit. And so to be spiritual is just to live with a commitment to being focused on content, not form. That when I meet people, when I interact in the world, when I live in the world, rather than viewing the world through the lens of form, that person is ugly, beautiful, my color, not my color, my type, not my type, my culture, not my culture. Or through the lens of form, as in, I want that thing, that form over there of a diamond bracelet or a hamburger or a Mercedes. I want to possess that form. If what we are committed to and connected to is the content, well, the content becomes nourishment, not form of hamburger or french fries or hot dog or milkshake. The content is nourishment. And it's no longer about desire. It's no longer about permitting other beings, whether human beings or animal beings, to suffer due to my desire that my nourishment should come in that particular form. It becomes content of warmth. So what I need is something to cover my body. But it's no longer form of, well, it should be made out of, for example, leather that requires animals to suffer and is polluting our river. Or that it has to be the form of this very expensive, brand new, top-of-the-line thing. Suddenly it's about what is its purpose, what is its content. And so that life can be lived regardless of where you are. It's an inner commitment that I'm committed and connected to that spirit which flows through all of us, through all humans, through all animals, through all natural species of everything. We're all interconnected. Harming them is harming me. And a commitment to focus on that, the content, as I said, rather than the individual package that it's coming in. And so our whole approach to life shifts. And it doesn't matter where we're living. You could live here and be the most materialistic person in the world. It's tragically, simply living on the banks of Ganga is not an inoculation against materialism. I wish it were. And happily, living in Los Angeles or Manhattan or Paris is not something that prevents you from being deeply, deeply spiritual. It's an inner commitment.